everyone, welcome back to She Birds Podcast. Today's guest is Marlene. Hi, Marlene.
Hi, how are you doing, Brooke?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast today.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
So can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, like what you do and what you produce?
Sure. Well, my name is Marlene Sharp. I'm coming at you from Los Angeles, California, but I'm originally from New Orleans, and that's where most of my family lives and most of the people that I grew up with. But when I was very young, I moved to Hollywood because I just knew this is where I was meant to be. And through a temp job, I fell into kids and family entertainment, a lot of animation and geek culture and nerddom. And one of my first jobs in the business was working on Power Rangers. And I kind of fit into that niche so well that I've never left it. And my original dream was to be an Oscar-winning actress early on and then focus on my own projects. But that didn't really happen. I took a lot of detours along the way. And let's see, Betty White would be my hero because I'm still hopeful that I'll have an end of life resurgence in my acting career. But for the meantime, I am still working on producing merchandise-driven franchises, some of which you've probably heard of, Power Rangers being one. But also I worked on the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise for a while, and also Yokai Watch. And right now I'm working on a new, well, it's new and old. It's a film franchise called Young Captain Nemo, and it hasn't started yet. It hasn't aired yet, or it hasn't been produced yet, but it's been announced in the press, and it's something that'll take a couple of years to come to fruition because animation takes a really long time. And that's my chairwoman of the board, Blanche, who is my business partner in Pink Poodle Productions.
Yeah, I love it. I saw her on there. She's so cute.
Same.
That's awesome, though. Oh, wow. I didn't know you worked on Power Rangers. That's cool. I've been watching Power Rangers since I was a little kid.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, that's part of everyone's childhood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's very, it's amazing how many generations it has affected. And also it started in Japan even before it was in the US. So my boss, he was actually one of the pioneers of bringing it to the world outside of Japan through the toys. And so people in Japan have an even longer history with Power Rangers than everybody else.
That's cool. Let me ask you a question. So when you first moved to LA by yourself, did you struggle? Like, I've always wanted to move to LA, but I didn't want to end up homeless because I know in LA, it's a lot of money. It's expensive, and I don't want to be homeless or poor or broke or struggling, So how did you start out?
Yes. And that is such a good question. And quite frankly, it's something that I still struggle with, even after all these years in the business and in Los Angeles. I keep waiting to reach that happy plateau where I can just coast and I don't have to hustle anymore and be scared of financial ruin. But I don't come from a wealthy family or connections or anything like that. So it's all me. I don't have a rich husband. I don't have any husband. Never did. So it's all me all the time. And I have this little furry mouth depending on me. So it is a lot of pressure. And I don't know if I would have chosen this path had I seen what was ahead of me when I was in school. But I do credit education with helping me to make the transition, because I went to college in New Orleans at Loyola University of New Orleans, and then my goal was to go to graduate school in theater on the West Coast or in New York. And then that I felt like that would be a good way to bridge the gap and get settled into a new place. But my first choice of graduate schools was UCLA, and I didn't get in. In fact, I didn't get into any graduate schools. I was on the waiting list for San Diego State, and I actually negotiated my way into the program, kind of last minute, just a few weeks before school started. And so that's how I was able to move to Los Angeles. I mean, it was Los Angeles by way of San Diego. And so I finished the graduate program, the MFA in musical theater, which I do not recommend because I just had a lot of debt and not really a ton of job prospects. But I did get a job pretty early on as a talent agent assistant. So I was able to make contacts and even get some acting work through that experience, because I was barely paid anything to be an agent assistant. But one of the perks was that I could submit myself for acting jobs. So I did that. And then I actually had a bit of a breakdown after a year, and I moved back to New Orleans for a year and a half. And that turned out to be a mistake too. So then I came back to Los Angeles, but I was really determined. I made a trip out here ahead of time and had set up a bunch of job interviews, like informational interviews and stuff like that. So I was fortunate to have a job waiting for me when I did move out here, but it only lasted 3 months, and then that's what led to the temping, which led to the Power Rangers job, which I ended up staying in for 5 years. But I guess my point is there is no guarantee, and it's just a constant process of schmoozing, I guess, prayer, making contacts, keeping up with your social media in a strategic way, making friends and being nice to people. And I mean, I feel like if I had the secret sauce, I'd be doing better for myself than I am, because my acting career kind of went by the wayside. I've been fortunate to do a lot of cool acting jobs, but that was my original goal, but I could never really make a living off of that consistently. And I've had to focus on my career in the background more, in behind the scenes, which in itself is very difficult to maintain as well. Right, writing and producing is not like a safety net.
Yeah.
At least it hasn't been for me. It's also a struggle, but just a different kind. So I've thought about getting out of the business a number of times. I've actually tried to get out of the business. I've applied for jobs in every sector of the economy, and other industries won't have me, Brooke. I can't break into any other industry because my resume is so show business heavy. And I in fact, I remember one job interview a few years ago where the interviewer she said to me, well, why would you want to work here? You've worked with Paul McCartney. And why wouldn't you continue to do that? Why wouldn't you want to keep doing that? And I said, well, that's a good question. And first of all, if you knew Paul McCartney like I knew Paul McCartney, you would want to work here, elsewhere. Enough said. And also, it's just there is a lot to be said for the stability of other industries. Although sometimes, the older I get, I feel like maybe the stability of other industries is a myth too. It's just tough. It's tough to be a human being. It's tough to have a career a lasting career in any profession. And I have seen that a lot in Hollywood, where I'm always shocked and amazed at when I'm involved in auditioning people for new projects. The celebrities and the stars who come out of the woodwork and they're auditioning, and you would think that they would be getting lucrative offers, but no, there's a rarefied stratosphere of people who don't ever have to audition, I guess. But that's a very, very small group of people. And even when I was acting a lot and going to auditions on a regular basis, I would be auditioning with people who were celebrities, and that was so intimidating. I remember auditioning for some sitcoms, and I ran into Yvette Nicole Brown and Nicole Byer at auditions, and I thought, like, well, there's no chance for me. Like, these women are superstars. I cannot compete with this. And sure enough, I didn't get any of those jobs, but they were auditioning, and I would think they would be at the point where they would just get offers, but everybody's hustling in one way or another.
Yeah, that's what I try to explain to like non-celebrities, because I've interviewed.
Oh, I think maybe the video stopped. Can you
hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I've interviewed quite a few celebrities, and they said exactly what you said. It's a hustle. Like, you got to work hard for it. Like, non-celebrities, they think, oh, they got it easy. They got money. They can work their way into it, pay their way into it. And I'm like, no, it's not that easy. It's a lifestyle they live.
Oh, yeah. And not long ago, I visited the set of Days of Our Lives, and two of the actors who've been on the show for like a million years, they were all too eager to talk to my friend and I, who they didn't know, but they were giving us all their social media handles and, encouraging us to join their fan clubs and stuff.
Wow.
And it's like, wow. I mean, like, you would think that that would go without saying. I mean, I certainly knew who they were. I had grown up watching them, but here they were promoting themselves as if they were just starting in the business. So
oh yeah,
it's weird, but I guess that's reality.
Yeah, definitely. I want to speak a little bit more about your Pink Poodle Productions. Can you like go into detail about what you do as a producer and stuff, like how you do it?
Yeah, so I started Pink Poodle Productions a few years back as basically a glorified resume, as a website. So I signed up for the domain name because I like pink and I like poodles, and I felt like, well, I should have a smile on my face when I talk about my endeavors. So pink poodles, and the juxtaposition of pink and poodles really lights me up. So I thought, okay, that's my company, and I set it up to be almost like a portfolio, glorified resume, so that when I was applying for jobs, I'd have a destination to tell people to go there, and they could see photos and videos of things that I worked on in the past. And then at the end of 2019, I lost my job. I was working for a Japanese video game company called Level 5. I was working in their LA office as the head of production on all the TV and film projects that they were doing that corresponded with their video games. So Yokai Watch was one of them. We had a series on Disney XD in the US, and Inazuma 11 was another show that we had on Disney XD, and various other things. But the company was based in Japan, and that was the core of their business. And at the end of 2019, they decided to shut all their offices that were not in Japan. So that was the LA office and the Hong Kong office and the Seoul, Korea office. So there went my job, and I didn't have any other full-time opportunities waiting for me. So I just decided that Pink Poodle Productions would be that would fill the gap on my resume. And that was going to be my job. And then sure enough, I was fortunate to have a couple of freelance consulting projects that came my way. So I thought, well, that'll be produced under the banner of Pink Poodle Productions, because it's, it's all me. And so that's what I did. And I've just kept it going for the past 2.5 years. So I do now have a full-time job with a company called Rainshine Entertainment that is based in India. But I work here with a small team in Los Angeles, and that's the company behind Young Captain Nemo. But I still keep my Pink Poodle Productions. I want to keep that going because there are no guarantees in this business. And I know that I can keep Pink Poodle around as long as I want because it's my company. And I like to do pro bono consulting, and I always have a lot of personal projects going. So I showcase what I do with Rainshine also through Pink Poodle as well, because Pink Poodle is just me. It's Blanche and me. It's Blanche and me. So it always makes me chuckle when I get contacted on LinkedIn and people are like, "Oh, can we help you with your recruiting needs?" And I get all these sales pitches about wanting to handle the IT at my company and stuff like that. And it's like, well, you're barking up the wrong tree. Because it's all me all the time. And I work from home also for Rainshine. We did have an office in LA, and then the pandemic happened, and the office, we let the office go. And then there are just 4 of us here. Everybody else is in Mumbai. So it's more cost effective for us to work independently. So Pink Poodle Productions came about as shameless self-promotion that then turned into forced entrepreneurship. And I've kept it going.
I love it. So I love that you named your dog Blanche too.
Oh,
from the Golden Girls.
Yes. Oh, the name Blanche has a lot of meaning for me, not just because of the Golden Girls, but the character from the Golden Girls was named after the character Blanche Dubois in a play entitled Streetcar Named Desire, which is about New Orleans. It's about a neurotic diva from New Orleans and her struggles. It's a play by Tennessee Williams, and that's one of my favorite plays. And I'm from New Orleans, and Blanche means white, and my little dog is white and fluffy. So it's like all these it's like she was destined to be named Blanche. She could not be named anything else.
How long have you had her?
Well, she's a little over 13, and then I adopted her in the shelter when she was 10 and a half, or the shelter estimated her age at 10 months old. So she was just shy of a year old when I got her. So she's my longest relationship. Longest time having a roommate or, anything. So.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. So with Captain Nemo, can you tell us a little bit about that too? So is it going to be based on like Finding Nemo?
No, so here's a little bit of history about the name Nemo. So there's an author named Jules Verne who was French. He lived in the early part of the 1800s, and he wrote a book called 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And he had a very memorable but mysterious protagonist who is kind of an anti-hero named Captain Nemo, who he was a questionable fellow, but he gained a following way back then. And these books. So Jules Verne wrote 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. He wrote another book called Mysterious Island that featured Captain Nemo. And those books were eventually made into movies, live action movies. Disney made one called 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And other companies did too, because the books are in public domain. And so it's been the name just kind of stuck in the universe. And so Disney took that name, named a little fish after it. There's been a Japanese movie franchise called Little Nemo. There's like, Nemo's just a name that's out there. And Jules Verne, since he lived so long ago, he cannot claim copyright on any of that anymore. So it's just there for people to use. So there's a contemporary author named Jason Henderson, and he loved those books when he was a kid, the Jules Verne source material. So he wrote a present day story about what he imagined a modern day descendant of Captain Nemo would be like. So he wrote a trilogy that the books were published in 2019, 2020, and 2021. So it's a trilogy. Each book was published, 1 year after the next, and they're bestsellers. And so part of my job at Rainshine, my Rainshine title is Head of IP Strategy and Acquisitions. So a big part of my job is to scout for intellectual properties that we can acquire and turn into TV, video games, toys, other consumer products, things like that. So I know the author, Jason Henderson, and I thought his books were so great. They're targeted towards middle schoolers. So they're middle grade books. And they're just these wonderful adventure stories about this teenage tech phenom who is a present day descendant of Captain Nemo from the early 1800s. And his family is very much a part of eco activism. So they patrol the seas and try to do good things for the environment. But then he has this sister who's a bit of an eco-terrorist. And so there's family conflict there. And then they're always coming up against modern day threats to the environment, like, big companies and pollution and various other things. So we through Rainshine acquired the books through an option agreement, and now we're producing them as a movie trilogy.
Ooh, nice. So where is it going to air on? Like, is it going to air on Disney Plus or anything like that? Or
well, that is to be determined. We haven't partnered with a distribution outlet yet, but that we hope so. We hope it'll be like a Disney streaming movie franchise, or perhaps Netflix, or one of the other major players in Hollywood that distributes those kinds of movies. It probably won't play in theaters. It'll most likely be a streaming movie, but you never know. That's to be determined.
I hope it makes it. I
hope so too.
So where can my listeners find information about that? Like, is there information about it out yet? Or?
Yes. So let's see. If you Google Young Captain Nemo, you'll be able to see all the press about it. So we announced it, maybe a year and a half ago when we did the option agreement. And then we hired a famous screenwriter named Jeffrey Reddick, who's the creator of the Final Destination movie franchise. And he has a new show on Netflix called Usagi Chronicles. He writes a lot of animation as well. So we hired him to adapt the books for the screen. And so we did another press announcement when he became affiliated and attached with Young Captain Nemo. And then just last week we had another announcement about we hired a producer who is very well known in the world of superheroes, and we also have put together a strategy for how do I say it? It's for fans to potentially invest through blockchain technology. So there's a part of the budget that is carved out for fan investment and fans to profit off of the movie. And then we're also developing NFTs associated with the movie as well. So that announcement came out last week. So if you just Google Young Captain Nemo and you click on the news articles, there was stuff in Yahoo Finance and Variety and Animation World Network. And there is a dedicated website. It's ycninc.com. And the website is new, and there's not a ton of information about the fan community and the investing crowdfunding yet, but that's coming. And it should be interesting to observe our progress, because I don't think there are many movies that have launched in this way with the blockchain technology. And Rainshine developed its own blockchain platform for this to build this fan community with NFTs and investments and so forth. So yeah, ycninc.com is where you can find more news about the franchise on a regular basis.
Okay. I'm going to look that up as soon as we get off here. I want to thank you so much, Marlene, for coming on my podcast today and chatting with me.
Thank you, Brooke. I didn't even get a chance to ask you about Ellen Byron, who's one of my playwriting heroes. And when I found out that you had interviewed her, I was blown away.
Yeah, I didn't even know until she told me, because she was promoting something different. So I didn't know her backstory or anything, because on her website, she just gave me the basic website of what she mostly does. So I didn't know the backstory. I was like, so yeah.
She's a legend. I remember performing scenes from her play Graceland in when I was in college and graduate school. And I mean, I know she's done so much other work for film and TV and whatnot, but she's a legend.
I didn't even know that at all. She's really nice, really, really nice and funny. But yeah, I didn't even know that she did that at all. But I was talking to her like she wasn't a celebrity. I was just talking to her and she was talking to me back. Nice. I don't know.
See, there you go. She's hustling too, like everybody else.
Yeah. She's really nice. And I didn't know, I think she was the voice. She created something that I watched. I think it was Dexter's Laboratory, I think. I'm not sure. It was one of those, I think.
Oh wow. I'll have to Google her and see what she's done. I know she's done a lot besides the theater stuff, but when I learned about her when I was in school, it was through doing scenes for acting classes and all that. And so that's how I remember her.
Yeah, maybe you could have her connect with her.
Yeah. I will. Does she live in Los Angeles too?
I don't think so. I'm not sure about that, where she lived.
Well, I will look into that, because I would love to chat with her, find out what her backstory is as well. I'm sure it's very inspiring.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, I want to thank you all so much for listening to my interview with Marlene. I was about to call her Marty. I don't know why, but Marlene. And I am super excited. I did not know she worked on the Power Rangers, and I love the Power Rangers. But I was super excited to find out that news. But like she said, the Captain Nemo super excited to hear more information about that. And like she said, she did give the information within the interview about Captain Nemo. So if you want to look it up, you can look it up where she said to go look it up, or you can go on her website. Her website is linked within my website. So if you go to my website, her website is on there. So I hope you all check it out, and I hope you all check out other interviews I've done. So here are some. Check them out. Bye.